Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Fallout Bar after night 2 of the 2025 BetMGM Premier League. From Glasgow tonight, joined us over, me and Carwyn Evans. How are you doing, Carwyn? You all right?
Yeah, good, thanks. Enjoyed some high-quality darts, I thought. A few good performances in Glasgow tonight. One performance, which I'm sure we'll talk in length throughout this Fallout Bar, that wasn't a very good performance, was of those individuals sitting in the crowd thinking it would be funny to spoil it for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, let's start there. I mean, it's 11 o'clock. It's time that we can say what we really feel about this utter nonsense. It's a fucking disgrace, isn't it? Like, let's be honest. Is it time to stop taking the Premier League to Glasgow? Because it's not the first time we've seen this sort of shite, though. We've seen years and years ago coins getting pinged at Adrian Lewis when he was on the stage there, which, okay, he was playing Gary Anderson. It was up against a hometown player, but it still doesn't excuse any of that sort of shite. It was throughout tonight, and let's be honest, the broadcast doesn't help, saying, why is that person not being kicked out? There were fucking loads of them. And it was all night. And it's just a disgrace. And I've had enough of it. Like, I'm all for pantomime booing, having a laugh, giving it a bit of that. I don't mind the whole crowd booing someone while they're up for a double. That's fine. If you're just that prick at the back whistling because you've had your fucking 50p on the person they're playing to get beat, or you don't like him because he's English or Welsh or whatever, well, you're going to have to put up with it because you've got no Scottish in here. So you're going to hate everyone and you're just ruining the darts for everybody else. And it's just an utter disgrace. And I've just had enough of it. Like, I'm looking so much forward to Minehead in a couple of weeks' time where you get proper darts fans that are not these fucking pissed up football knobheads.
Yeah, the problem is we're in a privileged position in the darting world at the moment where we have world-class players who are capable of turning out performances unseen on these stages before. 16 cities every year are privileged to welcome these 8 outstanding dart
Should be 10,
players.
but that's an argument for another day.
That's another rant for another week. 8 outstanding players to their city for an evening of high quality darts.
The thing
Why
is, that's what
then?
we had tonight as well.
Yeah, I was looking through the averages before we started. We had 10 plus average, at least one in most games. As in, why then would you find it remotely funny, entertaining, intelligent to spoil it by whistling and putting a player off? And as you mentioned, in the past, when this has happened, it's usually been against a hometown player or a player from that country. There is no Scottish player involved this year. Enjoy the entertainment available, because at some point, these players are going to say, why should I travel there for 10 grand or whatever it is they get for rocking
winning a
up every
night.
week?
It's not even guaranteed. Like,
Yeah.
you get an appearance fee as well, but it's
It,
why
it, it, it,
would they want to? Because it's a disgrace, and it is just Glasgow. Like, Aberdeen doesn't have this to any of this extent. Like, and I don't want to single them out because I'm sure we've got plenty of fans from Glasgow as well that enjoy the darts. But their darts fans are not fucking idiots like we've had in the arena tonight. And I know we've started off on a very negative position tonight, but it needs to be called out, and it needs to be called out in a better way than Luke Littler did after the game as well, because I know he's young and I know he's not used to all this media thing, but he is, because he's been doing it for a couple of years now.
yeah,
Say the word, and I think it's just an accident. I think it's just a slip of what he meant to say. But to say Kirk made them worse is not the way of putting it. The crowd got worse after they were asked to stop, which is even worse, and it was a worse look on the crowd. But the way that he worded it makes it sound like Kirk fucked up, which he didn't. Because for once, he actually called it out. And we've been asking for this. People have said we want this. And we know it might not go the right way, but at least he's tried to do something and tried to have it go. And fair play to Kirk.
Yeah, the problem is in Kirk's defence, he has said in the past, once we mention it, they get worse, and unfortunately, that's what's happened. Yeah, again,
he got to the point where he had to tonight.
Yeah, and but again, you can't call out the ref and blame
No, and I
him for
don't
that
think he
because
meant to. Like,
no,
with the best will in the world, like I don't think that's what Luke meant to do. However,
no.
the way that he worded it didn't help because he made it sound like it was Kirk's fault.
Yeah, we've got to remember he's recently turned 18, and legally you're allowed to start doing something after you turned 18, and maybe he'd had
Well,
a few
yeah,
family masses.
the old awkward hug with Emma at the end may have spoken that slightly as well. But again, maybe that was just a bit of an error on his part.
Exactly, yeah.
Anyway, we've started on a negative. Let's get into the darts because one thing I did notice when we started on a negative, I got very northern and you got very Welsh. When we get angry, we're not. It makes it very difficult for anyone to understand what the fuck we're on about.
Definitely, yeah. The R's come out then.
So let's start with the darts and start with the first game of the night, which is back to Mr. Luke Littler, who produced an unbelievable comeback against Rob Cross. Let's be honest, he was 5-1 down in this and dead and buried to all intents and purposes. This game was over.
Yeah, it's quite funny. After 6 legs, I made a little note saying, apologise in advance, and don't say that you think Luke Littler's done by any stretch of the imagination, but things might not be as rosy this year as they were last year because naturally he's number 2 in the world, defending world champion, pressure builds on him. Couldn't have been further from the truth for the second half of that game.
Yeah, ridiculous.
It shows, though, how gifted and talented he is as a darts player, that from 5-1 down, he played better than he had in the first half of the game. As in, pressure doesn't get to him. He thrives on it, and he produced a performance which, well, as in,
spectacular.
Rob Cross wasn't expecting it.
Well, that's it. I mean, it was almost again him losing with a ridiculous 100+ average, but it wasn't this time around because he got over the line. As Video Smurf mentions, 2 darts at double 18 for Rob Cross out of his 3-match darts. You don't often fancy Rob Cross to miss them, especially not when he was playing the way he was to get to that point of being 5-1 up. There's loads of people in the chat room. We've missed you all at the start because me and Carwin had to get our rant out of the way. But
sorry,
yeah, a couple of them. Dean makes a good point. Like, he is still inexperienced when it comes to making those sort of statements, which we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt that he didn't mean to sort of drop it on Kirk and not sort of call it out. I think he was, if anything, trying to call it out, but just said it the wrong way.
Yeah, and I don't think it should be on his shoulders because, yes, he's world champion.
But he is getting interviewed on the stage, and everyone knew it had gone on. And if he chose to comment on it, which he did, he brought it up. You probably need to word it a little bit better. But again, inexperience. As much as he's been throwing darts for a long time, he's not been doing those sorts of interviews on stage for, well, what, a year and a bit, like 14 months. It's not something he's used to. So we'll give him a bit of freedom for that. Elsewhere in the chat, loads of the regulars in. Bob's in. Say Video Smurf's in, who we just threw all box ups in as well. David asked who's on. It's the regulars, as I think we're called. Shelty's in as well. Jamie's in as well. Jamie, you've probably recognised already because we've mentioned the fact that Luke did the interview at the end, which if that doesn't give it away, then I'm not sure what else we'll do. Who else have we got? David in, Stephen in as well. There's loads of you in as ever, and obviously we'll give you all your chance as we go along. Andy's in as well. Jeff, the whistles, don't get us going again. Jesus. The anti-deck. Fantastic. Love that. We'll have that. We look at, like, everyone thinks they're basically brothers. We probably look closer to brothers than they do, to be fair. Yeah. Big win for Luke Littler to start us off. And then another big win. I tell you what, he fancies it this year, doesn't he, Mr. Michael Van Gerwen?
Yeah, he's fed up of people talking about Luke this and Luke that, and nobody mentioning Michael. And obviously, with Michael Smith dropping out of the rankings, there is not much talk of Michaels at all. But what a statement! I think I picked Bunting in this one last week just because I thought he'd bounce back, but couldn't be further from the truth. 109 average, MVG running through the gears, and just doubling again. That's one thing I've noticed in a lot of these performances so far this year is the boys are doubling immensely well. As in, there's not been many where you're looking at sort of 20% or less.
Yeah, like it's been a rough start for Stephen Bunting, hasn't it? Let's be honest. Coming into this Premier League, we all fancied him to show his class, really. And I'm sure there's plenty of time left for him to still do so. It's a long time since he's played in this, and it's good to see him back in there, and he fully deserves his spot. But 2 weeks in, do we start to get a little bit worried, or does he just come up against two good performances? Well, let's be honest. One good performance last week. This week, spectacular from Michael Van Gerwen.
Yeah, well, I think you've got to start to worry because two Lukes are now going to be fighting out for the top two. Let's be honest, as in maybe somebody will spoil the party one week here or there, but one of them will be in the final most weeks, if not all week. But I think you do have to worry because MVG is playing well. Gezi, maybe not in the Premier League yet, but around the Premier League, has been putting in some silly averages. Rob Cross, he's a bit of a warrior. He'll pick up wins. Obviously, Nathan's struggling a bit, and
again, though, another one that will still pick up wins. He might not rattle through things, but he will certainly, like you say, he'll pick up points as we go along. But
yeah, so I do think we're in a position where Stephen probably needs to make a final just to get himself back in the race. I know it's a 16
early, isn't it? But
it is early, but the longer you go without that win, the tougher it gets.
This was it last time, wasn't it? This was Peter Wright last time, and you're looking at it, you're going, the more that goes on and the longer it is before you pick up points, the harder it becomes.
Yeah.
He's first on next week against Luke Humphries. You get slapped there. It's a long old night watching the rest of the darts knowing you're still sat on no points.
Yeah, you probably want to leave straight after defeat, don't you, and just forget about it. But you're almost then, even in week 3, hoping that certain players lose so the gap doesn't the gap doesn't extend. But I don't know whether
you want to be in.
No, and unfortunately for him, he's just come up against the green machine being exactly that tonight. Really, it was just
109,
phenomenal.
Over 109 on the average. It's silly darts, isn't it? Let's be honest. Like, there's not a lot you can do against that. Even if Bunting had played his best game, he might still have got slapped. And and you go, yeah, fair enough. We move on. And I think that's what he's got to do at this point because we are only 2 weeks in. There is still a long, long way to go in this tournament. And you can miss a couple of weeks and still end up all right as long as you continue to pick up points along the way. And that's what he's got to focus on, I think, at this stage.
Yeah, definitely. I think maybe last week's will hurt more because before the Premier League started, he probably thought, "Oh, I'll be battling with Rob Cross here and there, maybe." But
that's when you fancy, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
That's when you think you can go and get.
Yeah, so he probably needs to think about trying to get a win against Luke just to keep himself in the running, really. But shows how competitive it is this year. That after 2 weeks, we're thinking, is one of the boys out of it already?
Yeah, exactly that. Up next, we had I've lost where I am. Where are we? Where's me? I was looking ahead to next week and seeing who we had. Up next, we had Nathan Aspinall, who again is another one that is down there in the same position as Stephen Bunton is, up against Gerwen Price, who also came out of last week with no points. Big game, this one. And it sort of was the battle you'd expect between these two, wasn't it? Like, we were never going to see more than mid-90s in this because it meant so much to both of them. Big checkouts from both of them at times. There was the magic moments. Gerwen Price finding a way and scrapping his way past and winning this one 6-5. 6-4.
Yeah, it was
I think
6-4, yeah.
5 last week to Gezi, but yeah, 6-4.
Yeah, it was a bit nervy, wasn't it? As in, it almost felt as they knew, I need to win this one really. After not picking a win up last week, they were sort of right. Yeah, I need to get the ball rolling. And whilst the 120 followed by the 138 in the next leg, sort of both breaking each other. It was just it had a lot of drama, and a lot of magic. And whilst wasn't average wise the best game of the night, I think the bit of tension, the drama, sort of. It had
one of the better watches, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a 6-point turn to use a football analogy.
Yeah.
It was, and yeah, Gezi just doing enough, and he tried his best when he left himself on 5, not to get the win, but
he did do his best.
But yeah, both of them seemed to lose the doubling in that 9th leg, and yes, it was just a relief, I think, for Gezi to get over the line, because he played quite well all week in the Pro Tour. So it was good to see him sort of continue that run, really.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he won the one on Wednesday. Was it Tuesday or Wednesday? I can't remember which day of the week it was.
Yeah, it's Tuesday.
Wednesday, wasn't it?
Was it Tuesday, and then the European Tour qualifies on Wednesday?
I don't know. I've got lost now. I can't remember. Everything.
Everything is Friday all day, so I'm all over the shop. Sorry.
Yeah, so have I. I'm off work tomorrow, so I'm
lovely.
Yeah, so I've been telling everyone it's Friday because I'm that sort of knobhead in the office. Addy's asked, is Littler's darts exactly the same but in a goal version? Yes, they are. But he's changed to those because he wants them to improve his darts and nothing to do with sales of the gold ones, I'm sure. Was that a little bit cynical of me? It might have been a little bit cynical of me, that, I think.
It was a good pitch, anyway.
That's it. If he plays with them, I'm sure he will sell some more of them, a bit like when he used basically the Argos version last year for a week or two. 4th game of the night, not after we've just called him out for that. 4th game, Luke Humphries against Chris Dobey. And again, like you say, every single game it seemed like we had, other than the Gezi Aspinall game, which was just a great battle, another spectacular performance from the world number 1.
Yeah, he finds a way, doesn't he? And it's such a beautiful action way to throw, just the way he plays the game and conducts himself, as in he's probably one of the best world number 1s in any sport. I think everything he does just is magical, and he's such a good ambassador, and he makes it look easy, as in 6-4 on paper looks like a close game, but he's 9 points, 10 points up in the averages, and it's just, yeah, he plays darts in such a way that I hope he's around forever, because I love watching him play.
He's that character, isn't he? Like, he speaks really well. He's got time for everybody. When he plays, it's so smooth and it looks fantastic. And I think the biggest credit you can give here to Chris Dobey is the fact that they had him 4-2 down and had him in a bit of trouble in this match. But those 4 legs just to rattle it off at the end, what are you supposed to do?
You can't do anything, can you? When he's playing like that, you've just got to stand back, clap, doff your cap, and say, "Well done, mate. Thank you."
Yeah.
I turned up for a bit, and
See you next week.
Yeah, hope I don't play you next week.
Yeah.
Because Dobey's played well enough there to win that game. As in, it's just at the moment there are 2 players, possibly 3 in this Premier League who can just flick a switch and tear you
Do things
apart.
that no one else can do.
Yeah,
Exactly. That
exactly.
is it, isn't it? Like
Yeah,
Luke, and Michael, if they really want to turn it on, there's not a lot you can do, and you
yeah,
just cling on to the coattails.
yeah, and they can win 3 legs in 40 darts, and it's what 4 minutes, and in 4 minutes you've gone from 4-2
Because
up to 5-4
they're
down.
all generally quite quick as well. Like they're
Yeah,
slower players as well. It does feel like it gets away from you in no time.
yeah, exactly. So it's a steep learning curve for the likes of Dobey and Bunting, and I know they've been there before, but it's been a couple of years and what have you. But obviously Dobey is still in a good position after last week. But yeah, it's a case, if you don't punish these players when you get the chance, then they won't give you a second chance, will they?
No, definitely not. Like you don't get anything given in this. You earn everything that you get out of it. And like you say, Dobey, for him, it's okay this result. Like as much
Yeah,
he's played well, he's not had a bad day at the office. Humphries has done something magical for 4 legs to beat him, but he's still got 4 points on the board, and he's in a much better position than Nathan Aspinall and than Stephen Bunting. We know for a fact, like we've seen it year on year. If you get 2 points a week, you'll generally be in that top 4. So 4 points after 2 weeks, even after this result today, you're quite happy, aren't you, if you're Chris Dobey?
100%. Because the thing about this Premier League is it's almost two divisions. You've got the top 2 and MVG lingering, and then MVG at the top of the second division, and the other 5. So I do think that if you're going to lose to somebody in the quarterfinal, make sure it's either Luke or potentially Michael. If you win every other quarterfinal, you'll be pretty close to making it to the playoffs.
Yeah,
Because
like you say, with the odd semi-final win as
yeah,
well, which I still disagree with this point scoring system. Like
yeah,
to only get 1 for winning a final is stupid. Like
yeah.
you shouldn't only get 1 more for winning the final. That should be 2. It should be either 1 point for the first round, or even at worst case scenario, 1 point for the semi-final. I think like the disparity between winning 2 first round, no, like 2 first round games, or winning a night, only get an extra point. It's just not enough.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think it's a fair reflection, really, because you've had to potentially put 3 10 plus averages in, and
Not right that from James, is it? It is 1 point for the final. You get 5 for winning a night, don't you?
5, yeah.
Yeah, it is. So you get 2 points for the first round, 2 points for the semi final, and then 1 for the final.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know if you've seen all Boxed Up's comment, but Humphries' last 4 legs is like 122.69. That's disgusting.
Just forget about even trying to beat that.
Yeah, as in, I'd still be, based on that, I'd probably still be 350 plus if I was if that was me. But that's why I'm not in the Premier League. I can't do that.
Yeah, I can do that with
12 darts.
6.5 darts. Like I reckon 6.5. I reckon I could do that.
Yeah, well, I believe you.
If I'm playing well, that's if I'm playing well. Let's be honest. That's like up me top of me game. Right, is James right or wrong here? Like I'm sure I know the point scoring system, and
yeah, I'm trying to find the table because
the table hasn't been updated.
That does sound right. 5, 3, and 2 as well at the same time. At the same time, it does feel right. So Luke Humphries. Oh, yeah. So last week, Luke Humphries got 5. Chris Dobey got 3. Van Gerwen and Cross got 2.
Okay, so that is James is right then.
James is right. Yes, yeah.
Has that changed this year?
I can't remember.
No, neither can I. I'm sure last year you only got one extra for winning the final.
Was it 4-3-2 last year? Was
Oh
it?
no. I might be arguing myself
Yeah.
here because either way, you shouldn't get more. The first round should be the least points, and it isn't.
Say that again.
The first round should be the least points. The
Oh, the
quarterfinals.
least jump. You mean? Yeah. Yeah. As in, I'd even go 1-2-3.
Yeah. Well, I don't mind 1-2-2, but I just think it's wrong that you can win a game and then get less for the next round.
Yeah.
A bit like the whole Pro Tour thing, where you can win your first round game and you get no points, and then you lose leg difference for getting beaten your next round.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, either way, we're getting off topic. Let's get on to the semi-finals before I say anything else wrong. Luke Littler, Michael Van Gerwen, rematch of the first round last week, which obviously Van Gerwen came out on top in. It's kind of the same from Littler. It was what we saw in the first round. He played really well, really good average. Van Gerwen just dropped off a bit and didn't quite produce it again, did he?
No, that's it. And once Luke Littler got that second break, go 3-0 up, it was just what would the final score be, not who's winning the game. As in, it was how brutal Luke was going to be, and yeah, it was just Luke Littler had a glint in his eye that suggested he wanted to get some revenge for last week, and did he do it? And yeah, he's just, again, he makes darts look easy, doesn't he? And I know I seem to be preaching the same thing week after week, but when he's chucking 100 averages for fun and sort of battering players of MVG's caliber, it's just something unheard of. And MVG, yeah, didn't quite reach the height he did in the first round, but you're still thinking 98 average. You're going to be close in the game. You're going to be in the game, aren't you? But it's just, what's it? Luke Littler just blew him apart 4-0. Just we can relax a bit then because the hard work's done.
Well, that's it. It just, even when he got it back to 5-2, he just didn't think that he was going to bring it back, did you? He just looked, like I say, just a little bit off it. And I mean, he still averaged 98, which is not, he's not had a horror show by any means, but 98 just isn't enough against Luke Littler these days, is it? Especially when that 98 only gets you 7 opportunities at a double. Like, you've got to hit almost every one, and obviously some of those are in the same leg as well. It's just not going to be enough, is it, against the quality that we're seeing from Luke at the moment?
No, that's it, and it shows the standards you need to get to if you want to give yourself the opportunities to win a game against him. Is that you need to be averaging 108 and hitting 50% on your doubles. And yes, MVG who will, and as other players will, have the odd game where they do that against Luke Littler, but you know what you're going to get from him. It's up to everybody else now to close that gap and try and compete and beat him, because he's not going to ease off for years to come, because that's how good he is. So we just, I just say we enjoy the ride where we can and see where it takes us, because if he continues to grow and if people start closing the gap, that will become a sport that, well, lightning excitement to watch.
Yeah, it's just magical, isn't it? And it's the way he's able to just flick between the pace as well. Sometimes he goes fast, sometimes he goes slow. But he knows himself, just almost without having to think about it, that I need to slow this down a little bit here. I need to go a bit faster here. I just need to find the right rhythm on each individual throw as to how to let it go. And he just has that instinctive element that just allows him to be ahead of everyone else.
Yeah, and his composure and counting and just at the right moments in games to switch perfectly and to do without thinking. As in, I know most darts players at every level can count and they know if they've got this and this level what to go for.
Some of them, at least, we question some of them now and then.
Yeah. Some get lucky and find the last treble to save them, but with Luke, he's just. And he's not afraid to switch to any treble either to leave a double he wants. It's
or a single sometimes, to be honest, for a 170 exactly. Or the rest.
Yeah, and he does love a 170, doesn't he?
He does that, and yeah, it's just we were sort of saying he needed to get off to have a decent little round today after last week. It didn't wait long for it, did we? We didn't have to. Sort of worry about it for too long as to whether he'd get going early in this.
Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? As in, he's probably seen articles, seen headlines, seen tweets. Oh, Luke Littler's not on it. As in, struggle in Pro Tour, didn't win a game of the Premier League last week, must win this week, and you just okay, I'll do what you tell me to do, and he does it, and it's the fact that nothing bothers him. It's water off a duck's back, and he's just, I just find him almost frustrating to an extent. The fact that nothing does bother him, because it should. He's world number 2. He's defending world champion. He shouldn't make darts look so easy, but
he's also 18, and he shouldn't have this sort of, like you say, composure and mentality at this point. Like he should
be erratic.
He should be petulant and erratic, and he should be unbelievable at his best, and he should be dog shit at his worst. But he's not.
No, as in, his B game's probably close to 100 average. It's just.
I think his B game's about 104 that he keeps losing in games at the moment.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? And I know we go back to it, but 18 and just makes. We're all living in the Luke Littler world. It's incredible.
It is. It's a very different game to the one me and you play, isn't it?
Yeah, bloody hell, yeah.
Evening, Anthony. Lovely to have you in from over the pond, as always. Get yourself joining us back on stream at some point. Lovely to have you on it during the Worlds. Second semi-final. Gerwen Price against Luke Humphries. Now, you were getting a bit excited, I reckon, during this game. I think specifically at around about 4-3 to go in Price after him rattling off at 4-2, sorry, after him getting himself into that 2-leg lead. I think you were probably a little bit excited at that point, and then the Humphries just fired back at him with, I think, was it an 11-darter, I think, to get back to 4-3, and then from there.
Yeah, it was the 105 to make it 4-all that just sort of sealed Price's fate.
That was the break as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, and what was Gezi sat on
38 or 36?
I think 38, I believe 38 or
yes, he had. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yes, at that point, like you say, sat on 38, and he probably splits it. But either way, he's going to get at least 2 clear darts at a double to go 5-3 in front and 1 away from winning it. But it was once again 4 legs on the bounce from Luke Humphries at a ridiculous level. Someone in the chat will probably know the numbers, maybe slightly better than us, but I assume it was well over 100 again, including obviously there was an 11-darter in there to get it back to 4-3.
Yeah, it's what it does, isn't it? It's similar to Littler. Being behind doesn't bother them, and they know when they need an 11-darter, they find an 11-darter. When they need a breaker throw from a big finish, they find that big. As in, Humphries doesn't take that 105 out. You expect Price to go 5-3 up, and you expect Price to win from there. But once it got to 4-all, all the momentum had shifted to Humphries, and everything was pointing.
Like I say, it was that 11 darter, and then it was the 105 starting on the ball. You never thought he'd miss tops. As soon as he hit the ball, you thought he'd never miss tops. And then the 79, where he misses the big number first up, and then it's 2 double 18s.
Yeah.
And then he leaves himself 99, which is not the easiest finish on the board by any means. But again, just takes it out. And Bob makes a really good point. Price couldn't get any more doubles. Not that he couldn't hit any. He didn't get another dart at double from being 4-2 up.
No, that was it. And yeah, Luke just turned on the style. And, you know, that 9th leg, he started with a 40 and then still won it after missing the big single going for the 79. So technically, he's had 4 wobbly darts there and still won the leg. And when you sort of think, how many darts was it? 15? 15 darts. 4 of them have been iffy. So he's won the leg with 11 good darts. And yeah, Price just sort of, I think Price had a smile. Obviously, we'd had the wolf whistling earlier in this game as well, and Price responding.
Oh yeah, sorry, the Price wolf whistle, which was,
the Price wolf whistle. And it's clear that they shared a joke around it and what have you. But I think Price just had to sort of shake his hand at the end and say, "Fair play, mate. You give me a chance." And sometimes that's what happens. You've got to congratulate your opponent for doing something magical.
Well, it was pretty sure I've just worked it out. I was just looking at it then as you were saying that. Those last 4 legs came in 53 darts.
That's less than 14 darts a leg. That's disgusting. 13 and a quarter darts a leg.
And 11 a 12 and 2 15s. Like,
horrible.
There's not a lot you can do with that, bearing in mind that the 11 was on his own throw. So you've got to hit a 9 to beat it. And then he's broken in 15, which, maybe Gezi should hold in 15. But then he's held in 15, which means you've got to break him in 12. And then he's broken in 12, which means you have to hold in 12. It's magical darts again.
Yeah.
And like I say, the average overall was 102, but in those last 4 is probably 111, 12, I think. I don't know how good. My maths isn't quite that good straight off the top of my head, but it's not far off that, I wouldn't have thought.
Yeah, no, it can't be, no.
So yeah,
no,
brilliant.
It's higher than that. It's probably higher than that, is it?
Yeah, it actually probably is a little bit, isn't it? So 12's what? 120?
25.
Yeah, 125. So got an 11 and a 12 in there, and then 2 lots of 100. It's somewhere in the middle. Yeah, it's probably not far off 112, 113.
Yeah,
but yeah, just magical again from him. Yeah, there's how did Luke Humphries cut his finger? I was wondering this then. At what point did he cut his finger? Was that in the semi-final? I know he was obviously struggling with it a little bit when he came out. Just even after his walk-on, he was messing about with it before he started. The medical team there. Needs a wet paper towel, doesn't he? That fixes everything. As we've always known since we were at school. Wet paper towel, sorted, done.
Yeah, or a magic sponge when you're older.
That'll do, magic sponge.
From the black bucket.
Well. Any of them will sort that. What we did get out of this and out of that ridiculous finish from Luke Humphries was the final that, let's be honest, at the moment, the final we all want to see. It's the best 2 players knocking lumps out of each other.
Yeah, and whilst we may not have got the treat we may have wanted in terms of averages, this game, as expected, had everything, as in a lot of 180s. We had a certain 18-year-old reeling in that big fish, as he likes to do. And we had a last leg decider. We also had Luke Humphries doing the hard work of breaking Littler to throw for the match, only for Littler to go, this isn't how darts works, mate. You don't get it that easy from me.
It felt for a minute, didn't it, at that point? A bit like sort of last week, where Littler had outdone Michael van Gerwen on every single possible stat, and then was going to get beat. But this week he said no. He said it's not happening again. I'm not being done on every stat, on scoring, on doubling, on big checkouts, and getting beat. This time it doesn't happen. And in that final, when he needed it, those last two legs were sensational.
Oh, exactly, yeah. And sort of the 170 came after Humphries had missed the dart to break him, and he just, a bit like Humphries, he knows what he has to do. He knows what he has to do and when he has to hit that finish. And but the last two legs sort of really up against it. And bizarrely, the decider, it was all sort of pointing that Humphries should win it based on the first 6 or 9 darts. But that 165 from 205 to leave tops, it's just I think that was in the decider. Yes, that was in the decider, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. It was just obviously Luke started 121, 140.
Yeah. Leg done.
Humphries, started 121, 140 after Littler going
60.
60 and then 140, I think, wasn't it? So he was 81 behind after those first 61
behind after 6, wasn't it? Yeah.
The first 6. You're thinking he's under a bit of pressure here. He's at least a dart and a half behind here. And you didn't really feel that scoring 96 to get him down to 205 with Humphries sat on 240 was enough.
No.
You thought he was in trouble. But as soon as Luke doesn't leave a finish, that's it. Littler bangs in the 165, and you just know that Humphries isn't coming back. And he knew he wasn't coming back because he only scored, he scored 40?
43, was it? 43?
Yeah, 40, I think it was.
40, that's it, yeah.
Yeah, because a straight 20 would have left 140, but for some reason he went down to the 19.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure why he did it, but I think he just knew he wasn't coming back. There was never any chance of it. And as we clearly saw, first dart straight in the middle of the bed from Littler, and job done. Another 10 grand. And points.
Yeah, and I think we best get used to seeing this, because unless they're on the same side of the draw, I think we'll probably be seeing a lot of Luke v Luke in a final. And if they all go to the last leg decider, then I'm all for it. Because it's just two best players in darts at the moment, going at it, hammer and tongs, and deciding who wins in a 11th leg decider. Might as well just play one leg, really, and save the whistling. But
I mean, that would be fun, wouldn't it? Just stick them all in let's forget any of this best of 11. Let's just make the Premier League best of 1.
Best of 1. Because
that puts some serious pressure on at that point.
Yeah, and instead of throwing for bull, it's like a coin toss or something. So you don't. The advantage of throwing first is taking away from your ability.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah. It's
spin a wheel, and
just something completely wrong. Like you don't even get to spin it. Like someone else spins the wheel.
Yeah, exactly.
No one's calling heads or tails. Like someone else is in charge of this, and you just end up with whatever you end up with. This would be great. I mean, it's not great for the venues or TV because it's probably only on for about 20 minutes, but it'd be so much fun, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah. And the thing is, you could chuck so many caveats into it, like you've got to use 3 different darts, or you've got to, I don't know, there's something to work. I'll phone Barry up and have a chat with Barry, see what he says.
Yeah, see what he says. When you say Barry, all I think is Barry Island, I'll be honest. It's just the accent I've heard to you.
Well, I'll probably get an answer from Barry Island. So
I was going to say,
yeah.
I thought you had Nessa coming in. Yeah.
Oh. Sorry, that's another show. That's another podcast.
We've gone off. We've gone off
Yeah,
on
we've
a
lost the plot.
tangent
Yeah.
again. It happens quite a lot. Right. What it's time for now then is the Premier League table. And before we do it, big shout out to James. We got it wrong and we got a little bit confused. We said it last week and no one corrected us when we said Chris Dobey had 4 points. So that's where we just ran with it. But yeah, he is right. For some reason, you only get 1 point for winning a semi-final. It just makes no sense. It's utter nonsense. So, the table as it stands after week 2. We'll go from bottom to top. So, in 8th place, Stephen Bunting, no points, -7 leg difference. In 7th, Nathan Aspinall, 0 points and -6 leg difference. 3rd place is this right? That's not right. Someone's not updated this correctly. 3rd place is Gerwen Price with 2 points. The table I'm looking at has him a none. He's definitely got 2. He won his first round game today with -2 leg difference. Just above him, Rob Cross also on 2 points with a -1 leg difference. In 4th place, Chris Dobey has 3 points and a -3 leg difference. And then we get to the top 3, which is probably going to be the top 3 when we come to the end of it. Michael Van Gerwen has 4 points and a +1 leg difference. Luke Littler, 5 points and a +5 leg difference. And 3 points clear at the top, as it stands after 2 weeks, is Luke Humphries, the world number 1, 8 points and a +14 leg difference already. That's quite a big number on the leg difference already.
Yeah, it's certainly after 2 weeks, you'd be pretty happy being +13. And that's what winning one event does to you, though, isn't it? It not only does it
win one and make a final 2 weeks in.
Yeah.
You can take 3 weeks off and he'll still be in it, like
top
tracking hitting the top 4.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think that's it, isn't it? We're going to see 2 or 3 run away at the top, and then we'll have a real battle on our hands to who sneaks into the playoffs. Which
I almost want to change my prediction already. I said everyone would win a week. I'm not sure anymore.
No,
3 can win a week.
I think I agreed with you last week, but I don't think that happens. And
no, I honestly think we might see 4 night winners. Like half of the field not winning one. If it carries on like this, like it will fluctuate. It's a long tournament, but I genuinely think I can see Humphries winning multiple. I can see Littler winning multiple. I can see MVG winning multiple. And I can see Gezi winning 1, maybe 2.
Yeah.
I think on a certain night here and there, he will turn up and play his best game.
Yes, I agree with you there.
Right now, after 2 weeks, I'm not sure any of them win a week.
Cross is the one that maybe, because he's been here before and he's done it. But I think you almost need a week where the 2 Lukes and Michael are on the same side of the draw, and you sneak into the final but just have more in the tank because they've battered each other getting to the final. I think that's your best hope.
Next week, which is a nice little segue into next week.
Yeah.
But you've still got Michael Van Gerwen on the other side. I honestly think you need all 3 on the other side, and you still might not win it.
Well, exactly. Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, it's gonna be a tricky one for everyone. Like it's looking that way already. I think we need to rename this right now. It's not the Premier League of Darts. It's the fucking Championship. There's a couple at the top that are pissing away with it, and then there's a load of them fighting for the last playoff spots.
I said 17 teams fighting for playoff and relegation.
Well, that's it. As it stands right now, there's 4 of them that are flying away in the Championship, and then the last 2 playoff spots, there is about 7 teams that are all still in it. That's what this feels like. This is not the Premier League anymore.
No, it's certainly.
I think we can get the old ITV the Championship music back out from back in the day. Oh, that'd be wonderful, wouldn't it? If we could just line that, maybe we'll use that as the intro.
Yeah. Oh, that would be good. I'd be well up for that.
We're getting
Yeah.
too excited again. But here we go.
Yeah.
This is now time for everyone to get involved in the chat room. There's loads of you in. You've all been getting involved all night. This is your time now to show us how good you are at predicting and how shit we are. So, if you want to get involved, of course, you always need to have clicked the subscribe button. We don't let you get involved if you haven't. Click the like button while you're at it as well, because the more of you that click that, the more people see us and the more people can get involved. And at least some of them might be idiots and get it wrong and make us look a little bit better. And we start off with Luke Humphries, the world number one, top of the table, against Stephen Bunting, bottom of the table, no points. Does it change next week, Mr. Carwyn Evans?
The only thing that changes next week is the gap between Luke Humphries and Stephen Bunting. I don't think Bunting wins his first game of the campaign next week, but I do think he'll pick up more legs than he did tonight. Humphries to win 6-3, I think.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the gap between top and bottom just extends next week, and I think that leg difference for Bunting already doesn't look great. Like I say, it's already a big number at -7. I think it goes double figures. I'm with you. I actually think 6-2. I think it goes even worse. Just think Humphries is playing too well at the moment. I know he's given a couple of people opportunities and then rattled through some legs, but I think first game of the night, 6-2 Humphries, and we just see that gap grow again.
And I think the problem is as well, I know he's reeled them off tonight, but Bunting's under more pressure than...
Every week that pressure is going to ramp up. And
So,
it already is doing. Like, you can't be rocking up in Dublin on a Thursday night with no points or a -7 leg difference and not be thinking about it.
Yeah, of course.
And that is the biggest thing for me. And Luke Humphries isn't bothered. He's playing with freedom. He's top of the table.
Yeah, he does what he does.
Yeah, even if he wasn't top of the table, he still plays with relative freedom. But when he is playing as well as he is at the moment, it doesn't look good for Stephen Bunting at this point.
No.
In the chat room, we have James has it Humphries 6-5. He's got it quite close. Max has got it 6-3, 6-2 for Gordon. He's with me on that one, as is Video Smurf. The Greatest Showman's got it Luke 6-4, while Bob's got it 6-2. Andy and what's up with you, Carwyn, at 6-3.
Andy's gone Bunting 6-3.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Apologies, Andy. It's moved. Apologies, Andy. Yeah, 6-3 Bunting. Well spotted there. I went too fast there. I just saw 6-3 and I thought they were both with you. Yeah, Andy's the only man predicting Stephen Bunting. And as we know, never a bad position to be in on this show, being the only man predicting the upset. Johnny Clayton.
No, definitely. And
I'm just gonna. How many weeks do you think I can get away with dropping that back in for?
Oh well, because it features Clayton, at least
every single one that you're
9
on.
months. 10 months.
That's it.
First fallout bar of this year's
lost
World.
4-2 to Johnny Clayton in that game at the Masters.
First
Luke takes on Gerwen Price.
Yes.
And it's my turn first. And I'm picking the Welshman for upset again. Different Welshman, same opponent. Not this one. I'm liking a lot more of what I'm seeing from Gezi. I think he's not quite back at his best, but he's looking better. But he's still missing too many doubles. And you can't do that if you're going to beat Luke Littler. When I gave the 14-1 Johnny Clayton 4-2 tip. It had to be high percentage on his doubles, taking out the big checkouts. I don't see that from Price here. I don't think he'll be good enough on his doubles. And he'll be competitive, but he loses 6-4 for me.
Well, he's twisted my arm. I feel like I've seen enough from Price this week to convince me that he's beaten him in the Pro Tour. He's going to beat him in the Premier League. Yeah, I know his doubles aren't great, but he's... I'm going to put his doubling woes tonight down to the Glaswegian crowd. And that our brothers in green across the Irish Sea will be more welcoming of a Welshman, because the truth is, Irish people are Welsh people who could swim. That's how they ended up in Ireland. So with that
what
in
they
mind,
are, though, and what we do need to say is they are a really good set of sports fans.
Yes, and Price wins. Oh, I think he wins the last leg decider. Price 6-5.
I've seen a little rumour for next week, but I'm not sure if it's going to happen. But if it does, watch out for this game. By the way, that's all I'm saying, because I don't think I can say any more than that. But if it happens, it could be one of the best things in darts next week. Into the chat room. Gordon's with me again. Gordon's in a bad spot here. He keeps going. 6-4 Littler, 6-3 Littler for the Greatest Showman, 6-2 Littler for Andy, and a 9 darter. If there's a 9 darter in that arena, by the way, the 3 Arena is my favourite venue on the Premier League circuit. It is unbelievable. It's set up perfectly for it. It's a big high ball. It all sort of is in together. The noise is unbelievable. If there's a 9 darter in there next week, whoever of the 8 hits it, it is going to be special in there. Max has got Gezi 6-5, Bob's got Price 6-4, and James has got Price 6-5. Averaging over a ton. Video Smurfs gone for Gezi as well. Unfortunately, here, Carwin, like you've gone for the upset, but everyone's with you, and that might not be great for the prediction. All What's Up's got Littler 6-1. He's gone, and I could see it, but I think Gezi's playing a little bit too well. But like I say, if he misses a couple of darts in the first 2 legs and ends up 2 legs down, Gezi could be in a world of pain.
I guess you just have to look at what Littler did to MVG tonight, and so
you get behind against him, you ain't catching him. He doesn't. Even if he has a couple of off legs, you'll win those 2, but you won't get any more than that.
Yeah, an off leg is 15 darts.
Yeah, exactly that. Up next, this is now one that matters quite a bit down the bottom. Even after 2 weeks, coming into week 3, Rob Cross with 2 points on the board, taking on Nathan Aspinall with no points on the board. You're up first here on this one, Carwin. Which way are you going on this one?
Now, this is the type of game I would usually back the Asp and expect him to get the win.
To scrap through it.
Yeah, I just fear that this injury is more detrimental to his game than...
There was a lot of it tonight, wasn't there?
Yeah.
We didn't touch on it when we talked about the game, but one of the lads commented in our darts group saying the cameramen must hate Asp because it's backwards and forwards constantly, and it felt like almost every dart at stages tonight. Yeah,
and I feel for him because
when he gets in a rhythm, he's still so good. But
yeah, and he's trying to play it down and what have you. But sometimes you just gotta say it as it is. But I do think it's going to be a long.
Really
60
wanted
weeks
in
for
this
him.
Premier League. He really wanted to be part of it, and
Yeah,
I'm starting to worry that it might be the worst thing that could have happened.
yeah, especially if he can't shake it off, as in he could have done with a bit of time, maybe just to try and get it sorted. But I do fear that, similar to the first game, Cross extends his points between him and the Asp. Yeah, and I think Cross wins 6-2.
So really conflicted. I'm just going to talk about the fact that Bob's going to be there, and I'm going to talk about how jealous I am because it is my favourite venue on the Premier League circuit. I absolutely loved my time in Dublin last time I was there. And now I have to talk about this game, and I don't want to do it. So we're going to go through the scores as well for a minute in the chat room. Gordon's got it Cross 6-5. Max has got it 6-3 for Cross. Bob's got it 6-3 for the Asp, while All Boxed Up and Video Smurf are both 6-4 for Cross, as is James. 6-3 for the Asp for Andy. Can he just drag it out for 1 week? Go on. I'm taking it. I think it's 6-5. He has to fight the entire way. He's 5-4 down and he wins the last two legs, but he just finds something for a small amount of time. And Nathan Aspinall wins 6-5 to get his first points on the board in this campaign. And then we have the final quarter-final of the night. Michael van Gerwen in the top four at the moment with 4 points on the board, which is a great place to be in after 2 weeks, up against Chris Dobey, who only has 3 points, not 4 points, as we told you last week. This could be huge for Chris Dobey if he can get over the line here, Carwin. It should be me first, but I'm throwing it back to you. Which way are you going?
Dobey doesn't get over the line. And I actually think the winner of the evening comes from this game. We said earlier that we think 3 players will win a night. Well, I'm going to go early, but
3-3, I like it. I love that. It's bold. You've even gone there before we've asked you to do that at the end, which I love to see.
I feel like on the Emerald Isle, the green machine tears it up. And I think he beats Dobey quite comfortable. He's got that... he's hurting MVG, and when he's hurting, he's dangerous. So I think
he's coming out firing in the first game every week as well.
Exactly. So I think he wins. Do I give Dobey 2? I'll give him 2. 6-2 MVG.
I can't disagree with you at all. I'm giving you exactly the same scoreline. I just think he's coming out too well. My concern is you pick for him to win the night at this stage because we are seeing him dip in that second game. But in this first game, I think he comes out flying again, and I don't think Dobey can live with it. And that was my concern for Dobey before this Premier League started and why he wasn't on my list to be in there. Because I'm not sure he quite has that top level game to live with it when it's going. He's a wonderful, wonderful player. And when he's playing well, it looks great. It's smooth. It's beautiful. Great bloke. But that very top level, I just don't see it coming enough in this campaign. And as much as he's got off to a good start, this is a first round loss for me, and it's 6-2 as well.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, isn't it? As in, what you were saying there about MVG dipping the second game. In those second games, he's played both Lukes and come second best to them, where Dobey didn't have to play either Luke until he got to the final. So I think not having to play a Luke to the final next week.
He took his opportunity early on, didn't he?
Yeah, which is what MVG will do next week, I think, which is why I think he'll go a step further.
Yeah. in the chat room, Andy's got a MVG61. Video Smurf's account has been taken over by Dan Simpson. He's got it for Dobey 6-0. Apologies, Video Smurf. Hopefully, you get that sorted out and you manage to get him out of your account. Bob's got it MVG 6-1. Gordon's got it 6-5 for MVG, 6-4 for James. Quite a few close. Video All Boxed Up is with us at 6-2. Someone's gone too early or too late, possibly, for Max. Humphries 6-4. That threw me then for a second. And Max has got it 6-3 for MVG. So we are now on finalists and winner prediction. And considering you've already given us your winner, Mr. Carwyn Evans, who is the losing finalist for yourself?
I believe MVG defeats Luke Humphries in the final.
Luke Humphries being defeated by MVG in the final for you. I think I might be with you. I've just told you about my concerns about MVG dipping in the second game, and then I've just realised that he plays Nathan Aspinall in the second game on my predictions. And I don't see us doing it 2 games in a row, even to a level that it matters if MVG dips. Can he then do a third, though? Yes, he does. He does a third, but it is Luke Littler in the final, not Luke Humphries. In the chat room, who have we got here? Video Smurfs, it's definitely still Dan Simpson. Just 100% still Dan Simpson. Gordon has got Humphries beating MVG in the final. James has got Price beating MVG in the final, which Colin would be very happy about.
I'd be happier about that than getting my own prediction right.
Yeah, Humphries 6-4, a bit like the when I predicted Johnny Clayton to be a little.
Yeah, exactly.
I got it in again. That's at least 3 tonight. Max has got Humphries 6-4 over MVG, while we have Humphries 6-2 over Dobey. I mean, yeah, fair enough, Video Smurf. I'll give you that. You've stuck by your prediction for him to not only win but gets the final. Littler beating the Ass 6-2 for Andy. If Ass makes a final, I'll be delighted. I'll be honest. And Littler wins again. Clear 6-2. Or what's up? Come on, or what's up? You've missed a little bit off it. Who's he beating in the final? You've been playing this game for long enough. You know how it works as well. Humphries, MVG, 6-5 MVG. Love that. Bob's gone detailed as well. Thinks it leaves Humphries still at the top with a big leg difference. I think Luke could take that again. Another 3 points and only losing what? Well, not even Luke, picking up more legs in the leg difference. It's a big week again and putting himself in a position to run on and win the league.
Bob's clearly wanting the dream night in Dublin when he's there next week.
That's it. He wants MVG make it to the end. The full green strobe effect going on for 3 walk-ons. The big one. You can't argue that really. And what's up? He's always the one to. He's always part of this. So yeah, he's gone MVG getting beat by Littler in the final, which again, you wouldn't be surprised, would you? Let's be honest. I think there's a clear thing here, other than a couple of people like Video Smurf and James have gone for Dobey and Price getting into the final. Andy's got Ask getting there, but the consensus is that one of the Lukes and Van Gerwen is pretty much going to be 3.
That's it.
That is the beauty of the Premier League, or the Championship as I'm renaming it, is that on the day, anyone can beat anyone. And next week in Dublin, we will see what happens. And that is why we're all here watching every week. It's why we're all here for this. Thank you, everyone in the chat room, for getting involved as ever. Before we let you go, we've got a little treat. And it's just dropped in the background. Apparently, the internet wasn't very good. But should we just hear from the winner of the night before we go? I think we should. The full interview will be on the channel for you to go to straight afterwards. But let's hear from your Night 2 champion in Glasgow, Mr. Luke Littler.
Just hold the throws each, and then obviously when he got the break at 5-4, then I just thought I'd just find something, and then Luke Littler finds it again. Yeah, obviously there was a few in particular that were doing it when Luke were throwing. And then when Kirk told him to be quiet, it got even worse. And then I missed doubles, Luke breaks at 5-4, and I'm just like, yeah, Kirk, you've made it worse for me there, and 5-4 down. But no, I broke back and then hold my throw very strongly again.
It's interesting that you say that. Would you prefer the referees not say anything then if it's going to make the crowd worse?
If it's the same as what it was when Kirk said it, then yeah, just leave it. Obviously they've got to step in at some point and say something, but yeah, that's pretty bad. But I got the win.
We're going to have to go back to the crowd before we leave it. Well, not to the crowd so much, but why is he doubled down on blaming the referee?
I don't know.
I thought he just got it wrong on stage and just worded it wrong. But he has basically just said it was Kirk's fault.
Yeah, he also referred to himself in the third person, which I found interesting.
Yeah, I'm going to do that as well now.
Yeah, Gerwen often does that.
Yeah. Cameron about to say the closing speech to this show, but
yeah, problem is when you then say he shouldn't have interfered, then you're just opening. What you don't want is there to be a disagreement between players and officials.
Max is right. The referee had to say something. It was a fucking disgrace.
Yeah.
Tonight in that arena. And he has to say something at some point. We've asked for it for ages. Everyone's moans if the referee doesn't say something, says he should have done something. Like, we've heard it loads of times. Russ should have done this. Kirk should have done this. Like, George should have done this. Like,
when do you want it?
You can't ask for it. And then when they do it, chuck them under the bus and say, no, he's the one he's made it worse.
Yeah,
and then double down on it again in your interview afterwards.
Yeah.
And say you'd rather he didn't say anything.
No, yeah. You've got to pick a side and stick to it.
Bear in mind, most of the whistling was not when Luke Littler was thrown.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm not really sure it affected him whatsoever.
No. Oh.
Completely agree, Andy. Yes, people in the crowd should get banned, but unfortunately, I just don't think there's the facilities for it. I don't think they'll ever be able to police that.
Yeah, no. That unfortunately, they'll never ban them. They can throw them out on the night, but as in,
we see it in other sports. We see it in football. We see anything that you might see going on. Like, it's impossible to police it. And bear in mind that especially for these sorts of events, like, it's easier in football a little bit because generally it's season ticket holders, so you know what seat they're in and whatever. But for this, like, all 6 tickets are probably under the same bloke's name. They've just all one of them's ordered them. Like, it's very difficult to do. But like, I just think it's a difficult situation for Kirk, but he did the right thing tonight. And let's be honest, before blaming anyone else, the crowd just need to be better, or let's just stop going. Because
that's what'll happen eventually. Is players refuse to go.
Well, that's it. Like I say, it started many, many years ago. Adrian Lewis getting coins pelted at him when he was playing Gary Anderson, and that's arguably worse. But either way, like, if you go to the arena, especially when there are no Scottish players there, you surely just want to see good darts because you've got no loyalties to anyone. You've got no particular preference of people that are there. Why? Because these twats that are whistling would be the first people to come out and go, that darts was shit tonight, wasn't it?
Yeah,
because you fucking ruined it, you know. Like, and on that bombshell, we're going to end before I get us absolutely banned from broadcasting ever. So yeah, Cam McFarlane's going to play the closing credits now. I'm going to go in full loop later. I'm just going to refer to myself in the third person. But yeah, thank you very much, everyone in the chat room. Sorry that me and Colin have been miserable bastards at times, but hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you enjoyed the darts tonight, because a lot of it was fantastic. And thank you very much for all being part of everything that we do, because you make it every week, as I always say. And we will see you all next week after night 3 in Dublin. Thanks all for watching, and good night.